I remember when we asked you a while back about Rashawn going in versus Colin going in. Who is practicing as the next man up in Denoris?
They both are. They are. We're splitting reps right now and making sure they all get an opportunity to work and not just at Searce's position, but also working the other side as well. With Mike.
I know Rashawn was working a little bit trying to learn the big nickel in training camp. Is that still occurring?
Well, not right now because we got him focusing in primarily on the safety position. It's just one of those things.
Would you expect Rashawn and Colin to play Sunday?
Yes, I would. I'd anticipate them both getting an opportunity. And that's pretty much why we're working, everybody through. I mean, we got 3 guys working 2 positions basically right now.
What do you remember about the last time you guys played the Bengals in 2014 up there?
It's a good game, and it's just one of those things that you go back and you think about things that happened. We gave up some big plays on the defensive side, and we made some big plays on the offensive side, pretty much.
It was a tie, of course. Do you have any recollections from your?
Well, I'll tell you this much: the biggest thing about this tie, more so than anything, I mean, they obviously missed a kick at the end, thank goodness. But I do remember telling the guys that the tie was going to be the difference for us in the playoffs. I really do. I can recall that very distinctly, just knowing that if we took care of our business, the tie would be in our favor.
I think your initial reaction was blah.
Was that?
I think your initial reaction was blah.
With who?
To the tie.
Well, the tie, yeah. Well, I'm talking about what I said to the players. I mean, a tie is a tie. It could be a good thing. It was a good thing for us that year. I mean, remember, 7-8-1 was good enough to get in the playoffs, so I took it.
Do you like what the NFL is doing? I know they shortened it. Would you like to see any other changes in that?
No, you just play the rules. I mean, whatever the rules are, we play to them. And so, it's funny because in some cases it benefits one person, in other cases it benefits somebody else. So, I guess the biggest thing more than anything else, David, is we just play the rules. Whatever they are, we go out and do them.
After since 2016, lots of shuffling on the line. I know we've touched on this a lot, but has that changed the way that you start to evaluate guys that you bring in terms of multi-positional?
No, not
talent?
necessarily. I think, Jordan, we've always kind of done that. We really have. I think you can go all the way back to when we first got started, just making sure we had guys that had position value for you. Your first 5 are your first 5. But it's the guys that you have after them that you want the position flexibility of a guy can play, a combination of positions, whether it's tackle or guard center, and like I said, even in the rare cases you got a tackle center type guy. Those guys have value, and if they can do all those things, they get an opportunity to stay a little bit more, I think, than what we call a one-hole guy. I mean, that's all he can play, then he better be the starter.
Yeah, Ryan Khalil was joking that he thinks he's the only one left in the offensive line room that only plays one position, but obviously his value is added.
Absolutely, and you see the value for when you have players like that because they control so much. He controls a lot, and that's one of the things. And he's been a very stabilizing force these last 2 games for us, and it's shown because of the different combination of guys we've had to play with. So, it's tough. It's kind of like the secondary thing for us. We haven't had the same starting secondary in the 8 seasons I've been here, so it's tough when you don't have continuity.
What's the response in practice been like from your defense this week?
I think we've practiced well. I thought we practiced well as a team yesterday. I thought today was a good practice. I know they've got the right attitude, in terms of correcting themselves and making sure things are corrected. I mean, again, as I said, it's there were certain things that weren't up to the standards that we've set. And when that happens, it's disappointing. And I aired my feelings, my disappointment in it. As I told you guys, we're not looking to do things, easy or hard. We're looking to do things that are right. And I just didn't think we did the things the way we were supposed to.
There were some issues on Sunday, maybe with miscommunication in the secondary and stuff like that. Was that due in part to the kind of shifting personnel throughout the game, or what were you able to kind of identify this week in kind of that review?
I don't remember talking about miscommunications in the secondary. I mean, communications are what they are. You guys try to communicate and get whatever checks or corrections that need to be made. They try to communicate, but I don't remember that being an issue.
Ron, with As many touches as Christian is going to get as a runner and as a receiver, how does that sort of impact your expectations for Devin as the #1 receiver, quote unquote?
Well, I mean, it doesn't. I think the guy's going to get the ball based, again, on what the route is called, what the coverage is being played, and how things unfold. I mean, the guy gets off the line of scrimmage and runs his route, and the defender's there, and so the quarterback goes to somebody else. And eventually, if what the quarterback doesn't want, and he decides to check it down, or Christian's the primary, then so be it. I don't think it affects what the expectations are, because again, I understand as I'm watching the game, I'm trying to see what the quarterback sees and figure out why he makes his decisions.
Jordan asked you about Rashawn and Big Nickel. Is Big Nickel still a thing?
It is. Probably the biggest thing that's happening right now with our Big Nickel package is we're missing a player. And, and the big reason why we developed that package was we felt we had 3 pretty good linebackers. And so unfortunately, when you're missing one of the guys that's part of that package, you really haven't had a chance to play it. As you go forward in the future, and you're to her question, if you're looking for a guy that could potentially play that spot, Rashawn Golden is going to be that guy. He'll have that opportunity. He did it in college. He did a great job with it. Part of the reason we drafted him was that, to be completely honest about it, because he's got that kind of skill set, and we think it also translates very well into a guy playing safety. So, he's got an opportunity, or he will most certainly have an opportunity to be a part of what we do going forward for sure.
How have you seen Rashawn react this week with the extra reps?
I think he's done well. I'm beginning to find out he's really tough on himself. When he makes a mistake, he's trying to correct it. You can see him working through it. He asks questions about it, so he's very aware of his opportunities when he's on the field.
TD can't be in the building. Are you able to have any communications with him?
No, we are not, and it's it's an unfortunate set of circumstances. So, we just kind of go about it, and I know we most certainly are counting down the days, and so hopefully, when time comes, we'll have him back here.
On this past Sunday, if he'd have been there, how much could that have changed things, or what type of impact?
I don't want to get into that. Because you could say, about anybody. What if we had every one of our starting offensive linemen up? What if we had Greg Olson up? So, it's not a fair question.
If Cornelder does get the nod outside in lieu of Dante, what skill sets does he have specifically? I think he's pretty confident in his ability to high point, make plays on the ball. That would be a great matchup against a guy like AJ or whoever.
Well, I think one thing is he plays physical, plays with his hands and eyes. He's got good footwork. He's and he's a very smart football player. So those are some of the assets he has, and those are the tools that he'll use. If he gets that nod on the outside.
You guys love position versatility. He's got duo sport versatility as well with the basketball scholarship.
Yeah, we got a few of them. KK had basketball scholarships as well. Very well-rounded athlete, and I think he can do some good things for us out there. So I'm kind of excited to see him. If we go ahead and have him outside, see what he can do.
Coach, Chris Clark started on Sunday after only being here for 4 days. What is an extra week of practice of being in the scheme and being with the team is going to do for him for this week?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily how much more it'll do for him. I mean, he's a veteran guy who's very confident in his abilities, smart guy, understands. I think it's going to help the guys around him. I think it'll help build confidence in his abilities. I mean, for some of the guys, honestly, it was a little bit of a surprise that he was able to do what he did. But now I think they've got a chance to get to know him even better, and you can see the confidence in which they work with when they're out there. Watching him and seeing that he's already developing a rapport with Greg Van Roten. He's developed a good rapport with Khalil, with Taylor. I mean, and Tyler. I mean, those guys that were out there, those 5 guys, really look to be very sound and comfortable with one another.
Opposing coaches, quarterbacks always talk about Luke Kuechly and his ability to call out plays before they happen. Middle linebackers around the league, I'm sure, study tape, and Luke does too. But what is it that sets him apart that he is able to have this skill, this knowledge of what plays are happening before?
Well, I think, you know, and it's funny because I was thinking this to myself when I was watching him practice. You know, the guys like Mike Singletary and guys like Brian Urlacher, they practice like this every day, you know, and that's what Luke does. He practices like that every day, like it's game situation. He plays fast, he plays smart, he's constantly talking. I think it's because of his film study. I think it's because of the way he handles the meeting time. I think it's innate to who he is because whoever taught him earlier in his high school and college careers taught him very well.
Is there something special he does with the film study that you see other people that don't do it, or just kind of it comes natural?
Other than absorbing it, you know, and watching it, I know he watches a lot of it, you know, and I mean, it's just kind of who he is. I mean, he's learned that this is the right way to do it, so he does it that way.
Do you ever sit in with him?
No, I've walked in on him, and I have, and I don't know. I told you guys I walked in on him in it was 2015. It was Christmas Eve, and I walked in and he was still on the projectors, and I think it was like 5:15 or 5:30, and I said, "Hey, do you need to go home?" He says, "Well, nobody gets here till tomorrow morning." I said, "Well, it's Christmas Eve. I think you need to go home." I said, "I'll come back in an hour. I hope I don't catch you." So I come back an hour later, and I heard this door close as I was coming around the corner. So I went in, I looked up, and the light was still blinking, so I knew he had just left. But that's what he does, and that's just the way he is.
2 weeks into this new offense, what are you saying that you like the most, and what do you want to improve upon the most?
I like the variety in what we do. I think right now we're on the verge, and we're still learning. That's the hard part because we haven't been able to use the same 5 offensive linemen. We haven't had our number 1 tight end out there consistently. So, you know, I still think we're still learning, growing, and developing, trying to find a little bit of a flow. It's, you know, it's tough. I mean, I really do feel bad for those guys on the offensive side because there hasn't been any real continuity yet. And you know, I feel a little bit of it for our defensive guys, obviously, because we're missing one of our top players.
Ron, about that offensive line, Christian was saying he has never seen an offensive line group play as well as they did, considering they were jumbled together like that. What does that say about the way yourself and Marty and scouts and everything have kind of pulled together to find guys to be those depth position players?
Well, I think our pro and college scouts do an excellent job. I think it shows just how important it is to get the reports and get the reports right. Then I think when we bring them in to work them out and watch these guys, I think, again, the scouts and the coaches then at that point get together and talk about a guy's skill set. And then from that point, it's the coaches working them and coaching them and teaching them. And part of it also has to say a lot about the player. So we've been very fortunate this year to have a good group of guys. And so I'm excited about what potentially we could become if we can just stay healthy and get some guys back on the field. I think we have a good chance.
On that college scouting, was there anything on Luke's report that was like a question mark?
No. It's what's interesting is I think I told you guys this. I had a teammate that I played with the Bears, Jim Morrissey. We were travel roommates for 8 seasons. His son was Luke's travel roommate, and so going into the draft, he called me about Luke. So I talked to his son, and his son told me a lot about him, and I think that kind of helped me get on the ball as far as Luke was concerned.
DJ Moore had his first touchdown last week. Have you seen anything more from him this week that's building off of what he did last week?
I see a little bit of a confident swagger. I kind of feel that from him right now. I do.